Welcome back for another fun Extreme Power Hour podcast. I'm your host, Alden Antonucci, and I got a great friend of mine here, Holly Whalen, where we're talking about her amazing workshops that she just gave. And her program is called Up-Level Your Business. And we've talked about multiple aspects and parts of this. There's really no order of operation except for entrepreneurs that have a desire to then pursue starting a business. And sometimes we need to almost go at the speed of business, which we think is really fast. And sometimes we need to hit the brakes, right? And self-meditate, get the mindset right, know who that client is, right? And know thyself. And so what I would like a really fun aspect that you're bringing into this too is, okay, how do I make money? How does the business work for me and I don't work for it, right?
Absolutely.
I want to make more money, not less.
Right.
And I remember you mentioning before, not all businesses make money.
No.
It might blow minds.
Yes.
They're working 100-hour work weeks and might make no money.
No money.
And so I think one of the cool things that you're going to bring into now, I don't want to toot your own whistle, but it's bringing in amazing systems that you're going to get into. And I'm a numbers guy, and I know you're going to bring all these fun numbers and say, okay, everyone, we're at the table. How are we going to make this happen? Now take it from there.
Okay, that sounds great. Well, thank you for being with me and listening to this about systems. Systems are not sexy. I'm sorry, they're not. And they're very painful. Some people love them. It depends on how your mind works. I'm a big picture person.
Right.
So sitting down and doing systems was really painful. It's like pulling out teeth.
Right.
But I really want to hone in on why systems are so important. So if you look at the small businesses in America, there's over 33 million of us that are small business owners. There's about 13 million women-owned small businesses, right? And the stark numbers that you cannot ignore is just under half of them will survive in 5 years.
Ooh.
So it's really, really painful to put all of your efforts and your time and your money and your resources to fail in 5 years. And I hate to tell you this one. This one's not a fun one either. 86% of us don't make $100,000 a year in our small business.
Wow.
So think about 33 million business owners, and they're barely 14% of us are making over $100,000.
Wow.
Very, very painful. And I hate to tell you this one too.
Let's hit with some stats.
I know 40% of the small businesses are profitable, which means 60% of us aren't. So out of 10 business owners, only 4 of us are making money, right? And then 9% of small businesses make over $1 million in sales. The difference is franchises, and I'm not here to promote franchises, but I want to get into why franchises are successful, and a lot of it is because of systems. In 5 years, most franchisees will be 95% still in business, right? Only 5% fail versus 50%. That's huge, and it is down to systems. I really, really want to hone in on this. And 60% of franchises or more are profitable. It's really hard to get those numbers because there's so many out there and the numbers aren't readily available, but it's over 60%. It might be even higher than that. And a significant number make much more than $100,000 a year and do over $1 million in business. And it really comes down to, and of course there's the marketing and all of that, but outside of that is the system. So if you go to McDonald's here in Bozeman, Montana, and then you go to McDonald's in Singapore and you order a cheeseburger, it's the same, right? They have the bun, the patty,
continuity,
the cheese, the pickles, the mustard, the ketchup, and then the bun on top, and it's wrapped the same, and it's put in the same bag. It all looks the same. It smells the same. The experience is the same, and it doesn't matter where you are in the world. Small businesses, customers don't experience the same thing. So let me give you a great example. I went to my hairdresser, who I absolutely adore, and she gave me this amazing head massage, right? And then she cut my hair, and I looked fabulous. I walked out, and I felt great. The next time I went to her, she just cut my hair, looked great, walked out, but I'm like, it's just not the same.
Right.
right? She missed the head massage.
She was 95% there.
She wasn't even 90. In my opinion, she was like 10% there.
You just went there for the massage.
And for the head massage, I have to admit.
But that's good about perspectives.
It is.
Because for her, she was probably trying to be more efficient to make more profit for her business. Yes. But you know what? She left that cherry on top.
She did. So what is your cherry on top business? Thank you for that. What makes you different?
Right.
And so we always look at other businesses and how to compete. And, you know, only 19% of those businesses fail because of your competition. So where we fail is when we fail our clients. If we are not providing that, that consistent results, and they have to be results, like you go to McDonald's, you're hungry. What's the result? You're full when you leave, potentially, right? So if you're going in and you're purchasing from a small business, you want the result. And so what do they do every time? So it's consistent. And the only way to get that consistency is through systems. And if you're a solopreneur and you don't have employees, you can systemize
you
what
double
you
yourself.
do.
Yeah, you got to multiply.
But even so, just having that system every time you talk to a client, what is a client script? Every time you go out to or manufacture your product, what is the way you manufacture it? What's your quality control? What's going on? Systemize from turning on the lights in the morning to turning on the coffee maker. It's so it's so detailed, and it's so painful for people like me that are like, I just wanted the big picture. But it's so critical.
Let me ask you this. When you bought your business a couple decades ago,
yes,
and you took it from X and you times it by 10,
yes,
like that overnight, did you buy into a business that was already had those practices available? Nothing. So you literally had to implement these.
It did. When I purchased Mountain Maids of Montana. It's a cleaning business here in Bozeman, Montana. They were just in Big Sky. What I received from the previous owner, I received one vehicle, one employee, and a paper calendar with a client clean scheduled.
So everything was old school.
Old school.
Oh my gosh.
That was it. That was it.
Wow.
And I went from 70,000 to $500,000.
Right.
So you can imagine how painful the systems were, because I was creating all the systems from scratch. And so what did I do? This is a perfect example. There's so many business owners out there that may have a service industry, business. So what I did is I went out with my one employee and I wrote down everything that she did.
Was that an employee that was a 10 out of 10, or is this a 7 out of 10?
She was a 10 out of 10, and I am so grateful. I am so grateful.
So she was the business, basically.
She was the business. I bought her. Thank goodness for her.
Right.
And I'm a horrible cleaner, absolutely horrible. And she was mortified by my cleaning, but that's whole nother story. Because we cleaned this whole house and we had trash, and I had thrown the car keys in the trash.
Oh, no.
So then I had to go through the trash to find the car keys. And in the process, I dumped a huge gallon of tomato juice all over the kitchen.
Oh my gosh.
And she looked at me and she's like, "You're horrible." I'm like, "I know I am. This is why I've hired you."
Okay.
It's a great experience, but I was ready.
You had some humble pie there.
I did. And I don't mind. I am a horrible cleaner. You do not want to come to my home. But I wrote down everything that she did.
Yeah.
From how she turned on the car to where she drove to getting out, how she approached the client.
You start in the front of the house or the back of the house
All
kind
of
of
it.
concept, right?
Well, at that point, I was drinking from a fire hydrant. Right. So whatever I could get my hands on to systemize, that's what I did.
Nice.
Right. So I systemized what she did because I didn't know how to do it.
She did a good job.
And she did a great job. And since I don't know how to do it and I'm not doing it and I want to hire others to do it, that's how I picked that first. So I systemized the cleaning. Yeah, that was number one. Not the employee handbook, not the safety manual, not the sales manual, nothing.
Process.
Her.
Right.
Because I didn't know how to do it.
Wow.
And I needed to duplicate her.
Were you passionate about house cleaning?
Oh, no.
Right. So
No.
you literally bought a business. That's almost like a good advice.
Yeah.
Almost don't start a business just because you're passionate about it.
No. If you
If
want,
it
you
makes
can,
sense.
there's serial entrepreneurs out there,
Right.
and they don't know anything about that business, but they know it's a good, profitable business.
There you go. So you literally bought it on a hope and a prayer, and you transformed it like that.
I did.
By putting these processes in place, telling other people, hey, don't do what I did.
No. Don't
Do this.
Start
this way, right?
That's right?
And I love it. You got all these numbers here, and I want to hear some more numbers.
Yes. And so with systems, it creates and maintains and advances momentum.
Nice.
It really does. And finding out what you don't like to do is what you want to start your system on first, because you want somebody to be able to come into your company, get that system, and go from there. So, anything from employee handbooks to safety manuals to training manuals to onboarding to leadership. I could go on and on and on. Everything in my business is systemized. So even if I were not, walked off the curb and got hit by a bus, somebody could step in and do exactly what I do.
Give me an example of what system looks like.
It is everything that you do from the time that you clock in, right? I know business owners don't clock in, but for an employee, the time they clock in to the time they clock out.
Right.
So that means even how you turn on the lights, turn on the coffee maker, turn on the computer, what programs you pull up on your computer, whatever it may be. And if you can go through and do PowerPoints, like I do PowerPoint onboarding for new employees. So I have a hiring system, and then they come in, and once they're hired, they go through orientation. Anyone in my business, anyone can do an orientation because it's all based on a PowerPoint. All they have to do is read it.
And you're establishing continuity at that point.
Absolutely.
This is what we expect.
That's
If you're cleaning a table, if you're
Yes.
cleaning the floor, this is the product to use. This is the
Yes.
product you don't use.
I don't even go into what I don't do.
Right.
It's only what I do.
What I do.
Only what I do.
Yeah. And
That's
setting
it.
expectations.
Yes.
And so everyone has the same expectations.
Absolutely. And if you're really developing your leadership team, they need to know how to interact with your clients. So when I hear business owners say, I've got to be the front, the person in the front, I'm the face, it's me, they're buying me. That's red flags. That means you cannot be exponential growth because you cannot be everywhere. You cannot do everything. So if you train your team to be leaders, I have in my business the youngest leaders that are running major teams, like huge teams.
You're go-getters.
Yep. And they're cleaning for really high-end clients. So if you are missing any of those gaps, whatever gaps you see, revisit your system and see what's missing.
Right.
Right. Do they have customer service? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And again, it goes all the way back. We've talked about this. Your vision of the company needs to be in every system that you have. Your why needs to be in every system that you have.
Right.
Why do we do it this way? Right? So really leaning into what do you do, how do you do it, and why you do it, and creating that in every system and having it uniform so that every employee understands your vision. Every employee is driving for it. And every employee, when they're going through leadership or systems, it's all succinct.
Right.
It's incredibly important. Most people tend to stress out over change. They really like things to be the same.
Right.
And as business owners, we need to be constantly challenging the status quo.
Right.
And so when you go back, and I remember I changed our whole system for my employees in my cleaning business, I decided to bring on aprons, right? Little half aprons so they can have all their tools right there and for them. And the pushback I received was insane. And I said, okay, we're going to try this for 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, I want you to come back and tell me if I can take that apron away. and not one of them would let me take it away. So when you're bringing on new systems, or getting that buy-in, getting your employees to stand behind you is critical.
Right.
Otherwise, you're just pushing a huge rock uphill.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And I could definitely see where that could be a challenge. And I like the analogy you gave, because when I'm thinking mountain maids, I'm thinking an apron.
Yes.
And now as a business owner, I look at them like, ooh, that's efficient. That's efficient. They don't have to walk back to the car to grab the rags or grab the toothbrush or whatever fine-tuned cleaning that they're doing. Like you said, you really have some high-end clients that expectations that are really, really high. And so going back to the systems, started a business. Do I instantly go into a website and then that website wants to have the same continuity of the graphics on my vehicle? Or is that going more into branding? Is that all part of the system?
Marketing is you can have a marketing system, right? And then that marketing system is about having that everything succinct, right? That's really, really important. Your business cards to your logos, to your website, to the marketing materials, everything is succinct. Right. And then you can do that also for your employees. You want your employees to look the same. You want your employees to act the same. You want everything so that when, just like with McDonald's and you're eating that cheeseburger, you don't know if you're in Bozeman or Singapore. So you want your clients, especially if you have teams, right? Like I had an overhead garage door company come out to fix my garage door. And he came in a company vehicle. He came in uniform. I knew exactly who was coming. Their process was they will text you when he's on his way. He actually called me, which I thought was really kind. So I received this high level of service. Right. And when you're looking at everything that you're doing, if you don't have systems in place, how do your employees know how to show up or what to dress or how, are they to wash the vehicles or is it to say, wash me on the back of it? Right.
Right.
So everything, marketing, everything that you do. And it's so critical. And this is the missing gap. This is the reason why small businesses fail and franchises don't. There's a wonderful book called E-Myth. And if you get an opportunity to read the book, I highly recommend it. It talks about these systems and why it's so important. And I don't care if you're a doctor's office. I don't care if you're a lawyer. I don't care if you're a truck driver and a solo entrepreneur. It doesn't make any difference. Everything has to be systemized for success. And it also, the greatest thing about it, you want to hear it?
Oh,
the best thing.
This is awesome.
The best thing is when I started the business and I didn't have systems, and now that I do, I'm in the 1%ers or 9% of small businesses. I make over $1 million with my company, and it is solely because of these systems.
Wow.
And you too can do this and be a part of that 9%.
There you go. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
I mean, that's huge.
It is huge.
And so what you're trying to do, and to give people an idea, how long did it take you to go from 70K a year to hit 500K and 500K to where you are now? Was the systems putting in practice, was that your launching pad?
The systems were definitely that launching pad. But with every business, and I really want to normalize this, you hit housing crisis, pandemics, there could be wars, there could be financial markets that crash. I mean, those that are in the real estate business and having mortgage rates skyrocket, I don't want to minimize that outside, things out of your control can hit and cause you to backslide with your company. The biggest thing is to keep that mindset open. Okay, here's the pandemic. I can't tell you how many businesses shuttered in place and they no longer exist. Right. So if your mentality is to give up, your employees will give up. Your clients will give up. If your mentality is to really persevere, push through, make it happen, then your employees will and your clients will stand beside you. When we went into the pandemic, we started letting clients know, go for a walk. Go out and enjoy the lovely, beautiful playground in our backyard, and we'll clean your home for you. And you know how many clients took us up on that?
Oh,
And they didn't even think of that option.
right.
They're like so afraid. They didn't want any of our employees in their house, rightfully so.
Interactions.
Yeah, all of it. And so it changed. And so many of my colleagues all around the nation absolutely closed their doors and have never recovered.
Yeah. And I think we're probably still seeing the repercussions of that.
We are.
And so you can't really plan for the next bubble to burst. But what you can do is have people processes in place in these systems that in case something does happen, you're flexible enough to change.
Absolutely. Right? And course correcting is vital.
Vital.
It's vital. And not making it shame-based, meaning it's because of who I am that I'm not good enough. No. Things are happening outside of my control, and I'm going to course correct, and I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to figure out a creative way of doing it.
Nice.
Yes.
So now we got systems taken care of.
Yes.
What's next? I'm sure everyone's dying to know.
I know. It's so exciting. I really want to get into going into the 4 areas of success where you have linear growth to exponential growth.
Ooh, so the systems and everything lead to this. This is what everyone wants to see, that graph, that exponential curve. How do I become part of that 9%? Right?
Yes.
Excellent.
Let's be that 9%, and even better than that, because so many of us will be like, oh, we're the 9%. Then you take the 9% of us, and I'm probably at the bottom compared to all the other businesses that are even higher than I.
Right.
So each time you up level,
then
you start off at the bottom again.
Excellent.
And then you up level, and then you're at the bottom again, and then you up level.
Right.
Yes.
Well, let's get that recipe of success.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Stay tuned for the next.